Are we live?
You're live.
Good. People need to hear the shit you're doing, dude.
Yes, sir, dude.
Like, dude, do you, like, does everybody in your family think that, like, you're a little crazy? Like, do you,
not like my family, like everybody that I know.
Do you think that you're crazy?
Yeah, I think, like, half the things I do, I don't even know why I do them half the time because it's just insane.
Guys, this is my buddy Justin Rinas from Stag Stalker. I'm saying that right?
Yes, sir.
And you can see all his footage. So Justin is a solo hunter, and he travels all around the world with all types of video camera equipment. He's got cameras on his bow and arrow, and he's capturing documentary of the natural world in the wildlife. Like, this isn't the Wizard of Oz. Like, he's out there with, like, real bears.
Real deal stuff.
Sleeping in sub-0 degree temperatures. I'm looking at you hike like 10, 20 miles because you don't want to go in your cabin because you don't want to miss a good shot that you could get with your camera of an animal coming by or weather change or things along that line. So anybody that's watching this, like when I first started following you, I was like, this dude's playing with the bears again. Like, this dude stopped chopping down trees and gets to meet him. Like, why don't you just go in your house, you know?
Yep.
And anybody's going to look at that and probably think that. But then I look like further at it and the passion that you bring to the table. And I'm like really noticing the discomfort that you're putting yourself through. And I'm like, I see what's going on here. Like, this dude's literally ready to die. Like, you're out there in the wildlife. You're ready to die.
It actually
your
started.
passion.
Yeah, it started with, maybe I'll do a little this, a little that, and then I started going to Saskatchewan and Canada, and then all of a sudden no cell service, and then I get stuck, or all of a sudden I'm like, what am I going to do?
Right.
And then all of a sudden with the filming aspect and what I wanted to share with people that like are at their house and be like, hey, I'm out in negative 15, negative 20 degree temperatures trying to do what I want to do. And all of a sudden it figured out where I'm trying to chase something that if you ask a normal hunter or filmer what I'm doing, they're going to be like, dude, that's like the hardest thing going.
Right. And if you ask any person out there, and you're just, again, looking at this from an outsider's view, you're like, what is this dude doing? But look, this is your passion. This is what you think about when you wake up in the morning. This is what you
every second
talk about every day, and the things that you want to do every day. And isn't that what life is supposed to be? Like, we should be doing what we love, the thing that drives us crazy, to do crazy things. Like, if you were to, and the crazy part about you right now, you're in the producing process, you're in the build-up process. You're already a golf coach. Like, you're out there basically not making money yet.
No, just grinding.
Straight off fun,
just
straight off because you love passion, and I can completely relate to that. Like, if I were to do this, right, and in the beginning of my career, I trained people out of a public gym. And what was happening was a catastrophe happened with my family. So I had to move out of my house, right? So now I'm starting a business, and I had to move out of my parents' house. I was 19 years old. So I had to go and get an apartment now. So now I'm starting a business. I have no money. I have no idea what I'm doing. I opened this place on a credit card, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. I'm upside down on my business. I got an apartment. I'm a kid. Just like that, I go broke. So I'm grinding, and I'm thinking about this. Like, is this really what I want to do? But then that passion rolls around, my drive to want to do it, my love and desire for what I do. And it's like, I would do this whether I was making money or not. And I think that that's what life should be. Whatever drives us, whatever pushes us, whatever we feel every single day, do that. Because it doesn't matter if you're making money. It doesn't matter if, money's good, and you don't have to do it as your profession, but you got to have something that pushes you, man, something that you love, something that makes you wake up in the morning.
I think, for me, it's pushing myself to something I'd never done before, right? So like Colorado elk. Go out there. We were in tents. I don't know. Probably 15, 20 miles in, packing in, taking all our food, everything. And then all of a sudden, taking one off the mountain, bringing it home, and saying, okay, that's what we're eating for the day. Right. And it's amazing what happens when you push yourself to that level where all of a sudden you're like, this is sick. Right. Because then you get into a deal that you never even thought was possible. I mean, shoot, I'm a golf pro. I live in the private life. Right. You know what I mean, of all my members and stuff. And then all of a sudden I tell them, listen, I'm going out by myself, hiking, going out there with my cameras, trying to get shots, and then producing episodes that actually people can watch and actually like.
Which I think is very important because I think that there's a misconception with hunting. I don't have a stance on it, but I think that we should take the opportunity for you to describe why you hunt. Because when I listen to you talk about hunting, like, you have a true connection with your food and with your animal. and it's not always trophy hunting like we see. You have this different style and different approach when it comes to hunting.
Well, a lot of people that see that in the media, it's just like anything, right? If you see something that is portrayed like trophy hunting, then you'll have that thought process. And if you talk to hunters and people get educated about like why they do it and what's happening to conserve anything of the habitat, it's amazing when I take an animal and I look at it and it's on the ground. And a perfect example, I had elk this morning, and I'm actually like making an elk steak, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, that actually, like, I actually took that off a mountainside. Now, was he a giant? No, of course not. But I actually went out there and got food for either my family or myself to actually do it, because honestly, at the end of the day, we need protein and we need meat. So that's, I mean, a lot of from either like ducks or like, if I'm out there by myself, I better survive.
Right.
Whether
we have this funny understanding where we show up to restaurants and we eat all this meat, and we kind of forget the connection of where it comes from. And like you said, animal protein, very important for your diet. I'm at the point now where I do tell people to have animal protein. There's plenty of studies against it. There's plenty of studies for it. I think alike from any other or any food source, you have to watch the frequency in which you eat it. You have to watch the portion size in which you eat it. But animal proteins, chickens, eggs, lean meats, things along those lines are very important because they have full protein, the full amino acids, which your body can't make. Right? And then they also have true fat content. And I'm not talking about trans fat or saturated fat like McDonald's burgers or candy bars, but fat is very important. For years, we thought that fat was bad for us, but fat's very important for hormone and testosterone function, for our hair, for our skin, for our body and sleeping. The average person, I try to tell my clients to eat 1 gram per kilogram of their body weight a day. So if I weigh 190 pounds, that's for a male. Then that's 190 grams of protein. Females 0.8. So if you stop and think about just me alone, that little 3-ounce chicken is just 27 grams of protein. The average person isn't coming close to eating the amount of protein. And if you don't eat protein, if you're not utilizing the building blocks of your body, you're never going to build muscle. You're never going to get stronger. You're never going to decrease body fat and increase the lean, hard muscle mass.
I think people get lost in the food aspect of life, really. Like when I'm out there and I got to be sitting in a tree stand for 14 hours or going dark to dark, or I got to be out in the woods, it's like trying to make sure I have enough either water, food, all this stuff through my day to get whatever I'm doing that day. If I'm out in, perfect example, I was in Canada. We left at 4 a.m. We got back in dark. So dark to dark, basically. And literally, there's nothing out there. We had to, pack in what we had to eat and drink. And a lot of times, not for nothing, man, you go absolutely crazy out there. And then especially when we were hiking. I mean, how much food do you think you got to do for a major hike a day?
Right. How far were you hiking? What were you doing physically to prepare for the hiking that you had to do?
A lot of things that I did, obviously I bring a lot of cameras, a lot of packs. So that's extra body weight that I have to carry up. So I was training a lot with my packs up the hills, just little inclines here and there, doing some fast stuff when it's like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off.
Interval type
thing. Of course, because, a lot of times when we were up there, I actually, on that day, I'll never forget, we hiked about 7 miles up. And then in 20 minutes, he was coming in at 7 yards. I gotta breathe.
Whoa.
I gotta be ready to go. Everything has to be perfect. And I'm telling you, I got my cameras, I got everything, and everything that you dream about, it happened. And when that happens, I don't care who you are, what you do. That's what I want to bring that to light, because people that don't understand what I'm doing, and that's fine, no big deal. But just understand what you had in your life, whatever you're trying to do, and you actually achieve it. It's something that is almost impossible for people to realize.
Just being out there, in that natural world, where, one of my biggest goals, I think, this year in 2018 is to get my clients to hike maybe 1 or 2 times a month. And that sounds like a low amount of times, but I know a lot of people that don't hike, and I think that hiking is integral to your health, because it puts you out there in that fresh air where your cell phone no longer works, where you have to self-reflect. Did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? Was that person wrong? Was I right? Or you have to just sit in your thoughts, and it's quiet for once. There's no street lights. There's no traffic coming by. And just like you said, that interval training, man, it's an amazing source for fitness, in the sense of, going up a hill. If you walk up a hill, now your heart rate comes up. You go back to a flat land, you walk down the hill, it changes for you, and you're in beautiful land. And that type of interval training, it's amazing for fat loss. It's great for recovery. If you had a hard training session, an active rest day, like a walk in the park or on a great trail, is very effective. And I think it's something that should definitely be utilized.
I think a big thing that like I do with my traveling, and I asked my girlfriend this the other day, which is another thing that is huge in whatever you do, is support, right? You got to have support with, you know, the woman I love or family members that you call up and be like, Derek, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Right.
Like how am I going to get through literally going, like, you know, you say go broke, like, you know, I have no cash,
right,
and I got to go do this. You know what I mean?
Things out.
Yeah, and just trying to figure it out. And you know, when I'm out there in Colorado, and there's really a couple cool pics that I put up there, you know, on Stag Stalker, was with just literally reflecting, and you're looking over not like acres, thousands of like hundreds of miles of stuff that you're just like,
right,
this is really like
real.
how it, oh yeah. This is
like
not
that,
like
there's a whole other world out there.
Yeah, like people like, okay, it's Philly, all right, that's cool, or New York City. Hey, I want to go to Florida for my vacation.
Right.
Like, go out west.
Your bed must feel warmer.
I'm telling you what, man, I love my bed when I'm on the road.
Speaking of that, sleep deprivation. I'm looking at you like crying emotionally in some of these videos.
It's bad.
I think that sleep is one of the most important variables when it comes to training. I think that it is the most common mistake that most people make. Recovery, what people don't understand a lot about training and basic health in general, is the fact that training is a short-term stimulus. You're just tearing muscle fiber and getting stronger when you're in the gym. Your progress and your results come from the recovery process that you put your body through with proper nutrition, with, like we talked about, active rest days like hiking in the park, or 6 to 8 hours of sleep. And if you can't sleep, if you're someone who says, well, I just can't get a good night's sleep, here's some things that you can do. I used to be like that too. My mind would race, and here's some quick tips. 1, get dark sheets for your room. 2, take a couple deep breaths. If you're like, well, I can't really deep breathe, it makes me crazy, you can do it. Take 4 or 5 days and get good at it. You know what I'm saying? Read a book. Get the technology. Get that light that's so bad for your brain, that keeps you up at night, that makes you have crazy dreams. Get that out of your face. Turn the room into 68 degrees. Get it colder. Get new bed sheets. All these things to apply to your bedroom and take it that serious so that you improve your sleep. I guarantee you that if you improve your sleep out there, you will improve your entire life.
I don't think people understand. I mean, I definitely underestimate sleep. And it's funny, if you watch the episode for next week, and, you know, it's so cool to produce this now because, you know, it's cool to show, like, kill shots or, you know, for the hunters and show, like, my drone stuff. But, like, actually, producing an episode and showing, like, my story and, like, how I do it from a film, hunt, and producing standpoint, it's so unbelievable to see. Like, in a perfect example, I'm doing the elk episode next week. The first morning we get up at 4. We got to hike a couple hours to get up to where we're going to go. And literally at 13,000 feet, my buddy and I, like, we're sleeping in the tent. Now, it's freezing cold out. Now, that's another thing you got to be aware.
Like, how cold do you get?
Well, it was okay, so perfect example. It was 60 during the day. It was 25 during the night.
Wow.
And every afternoon it rained. So what do you think your clothes were?
Wow.
They were wet, and then you come home, and then you're freezing, and now you're trying to go to sleep. So the first morning, I'll never forget, I wake up, and you'll see it. My eyes are like bloodshot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be awful.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you got to have sleep, right? Any day that we live, if we get a good night rest, we're like, all right, let's get jacked up.
Were you hallucinating at all?
You know, a lot of times, I went... 2016, I was at 52 days on the road, and my girl and I told people about it, and they're like, "What? 52 days on the road?" And literally, I was dark to dark for like 40 days straight, and I broke easily there, and I just realized like what I'm trying to do, what is actually happening out there, right? What am I doing to like better myself? And like, it's not about the giant that I just shot, or I'm trying to go shoot something. You know, it's about personal growth. What I'm trying to do personally, what I'm going to try to take to get in my day-to-day thing. And that's what I love most about what I do, and why I push so hard, why I don't sleep sometimes, because I got to get the job done kind of deal. Because I see that the growth is so great for me in my day-to-day thing, because I want to just go kill it.
Haven't you ever thought about like doing like some less dangerous shit or like stuff that?
I actually had a conversation with a guy in Alaska. We're going for grizzly bears.
Wow, bigger.
Yeah, bigger, harder. You know, and he's there with the gun, and I'm with a bow, and I like to shoot with a bow. I love archery. I love just the whole thing with bow hunting.
You only use a bow.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I've used the gun before, and I've harvested animals with a gun, and I like it, you know, because we're out there and stuff like that. But man, in a bow, you'll see all my episodes, all my shots were within 20 yards, and when you're within 20 yards of someone's actually like environment, it's insane. Like,
what do you do to build up your shoulders or anything along those lines?
Well, I'm pulling. I actually there's an archery shop.
Show it.
Yeah. Here's my bow right here. I actually with an archery shop that they just opened up, Bob and AJ's Archery World. They hooked me up. Here's my bow. It's an Elite. You can check it out.
Can you see that?
I actually got a camera. Wow. If you look at on the stabilizer right here, I'll look at one of the cameras. Here's a camera. Here's a camera that's one button here. It's called the Tacticam. I work with that company. It's great for a camera shot. But literally, I switched my bow out for specifically the elk. I was going after, and you know, there's talks going to Africa and doing grizzly bears and bigger animals, and you know, you have to have a weapon that can take that animal down.
Right.
You know, my feeling is anyone can shoot a gun that's 200-300 yards away. Sure. It's like go up and try to find them and go do it. So, you know, spot and stalking is a cool way. In a tree stand's another way. But yeah, I switched that bow out. AJ from the shop hooked me up, and
it's awesome, man. I really like that. Ever since you got me into archery last year, I just really liked it. It's calmed me down. It's made me focus on a target. And focus
you calm down? Come on.
One thing at a time for 10 seconds. I'm calm. But I think that it was shocking the drawback and how much strength that you actually need in some of these birds.
It's so funny. I had a buddy come over to the house the other night. I said, "Hey man, let's go shoot my bow. Let's just go out there." And I'm like, "Listen, man, I just want to let you know. I mean, you're a strong dude, but if you don't know how to use your shoulders correctly and really start to really kind of like extract those shoulder blades, you don't got a chance."
I was going to say that, and actually, what I did because I was getting really into it and I was really enjoying it is. And I think for just shoulder training in general, like a lot of people have jacked up shoulders, whether they're rounded and protracted most of the day from desk work or
they have
driving,
no mobility.
Can't go up over the head. I think it's very important to use a foam roller and hug yourself and start working out the middle back area just so you can gain that mobility. Yep. I think hand placement is important. You don't always have to push weight over your head, guys, or do chin-ups or things along those lines. The weight can be pressed with your hands tracking away from your chest, so more horizontally, and it also can be rowed more horizontally. So when your shoulder isn't tracking over your head, it's a lot safer of a position. I love carries too, carrying a weight. And my buddy Tommy DeVitro was talking about this the other week, where you just hold a weight in one side, and now you're getting shoulder blade retraction and the proper stabilizers that your shoulders should be used, because a lot of those muscles become dormant when we're driving, when we're doing all that desk work. But better options prevent shoulder pain. Like if you have something that nags that shoulder, you shouldn't do it. And then obviously like not grinding out reps. You know, people are doing push-ups, you know, ungodly amounts of overhead presses and push-ups and just grinding out reps. And you shouldn't do that. And so I really took my shoulder training more serious, and it really helped me with the bow. One thing I definitely want to ask you is, like, did you have any moments when you were out there? Like, this might be it for me.
So I had a bad one in 2006, 2 years ago. I was bear hunting and one climbed my tree. That was
wow.
Yeah, I got some good video of that.
What is it like when Mr. Bear's
I'm sitting in the stand, and I'll never forget this. And it's fun to like videotape because obviously you have it for forever and you like to watch it. So I'm watching him go there, and it was a pretty good sized bear. He came around the corner, and by the time I look, he already was up the tree.
Wow.
Like too good. And if you ever watch a bear climb a tree, they can climb fast, man. Yeah. Like it's no joke.
Right.
I got up off the thing and I'm like going crazy. There was probably some bad words said, but I at the end of it, the guide came and we were talking, and I'm like, listen, I just want to let you know, I'm good now.
Right.
Like I don't need anything else. And then
there was
a bad time when we were elk hunting, and luckily So we went up that morning in the dark, and we had a GPS, but we didn't have the coordinates marked. And whenever you go out, please make sure you're with somebody or GPS. Making sure safety's huge, man.
I was going to ask you, what do you think someone's out there, I'm out there, I'm hiking, I don't know the route, Google Maps is no longer working, sun drops, starts raining. How do I, what do you think the most important thing for survival is?
We had that moment where we don't know if we're going to get back to camp.
Right.
And it's not even that bad. It was, out west, you go over a ridge, you're not going to see that. You see where your camp is. So literally we're walking, and it went from an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on the hike where we're like, man, we should be getting close, and we're not getting close. And I'm looking at the guy that I look up to, and he's like, something's wrong here.
Right.
And that moment of like, okay, what are we going to do? And the biggest part that I've realized doing all this stuff is calming down.
Yeah.
And really figuring out what to do if something's going to happen. And if you calm down and really think about it, you'll be okay.
What did you guys do?
So
what do you think the most important thing for someone to do is? Fire, water?
Well, first of all, you got to be comfortable with what you're wearing. Either bring something, if it's colder out, bring something, because during the days it gets hot, you get sweaty, it gets cold in a heartbeat. That's huge. Fire is another thing. They got little starter packs that you can bring, and just in case, a little survival deal is huge. I mean, fire, shelter, and making sure you'll be okay. I mean, that's the number one thing. And
what if you don't have fire? What's the best way to make a fire for the true beginner?
There's a lot of a lot of times people don't think about just quick getting little flint,
right,
and sparking it that way,
right.
There's things that you can throw in a pack that's literally bulletproof that the beginner can start a spark, and then you get flame going, and then you'll be fine. But that's the hardest thing I think when people get out there go crazy is that
calm down.
Yeah, if something happens, then it gets better, worse and worse and worse, and then all of a sudden you're like, what's going to happen?
Gotcha. I want to ask you two more things before we wrap up.
Yeah,
what were you doing to prepare? So I was asking physically, but what about nutritionally? Were there long periods of time where you wouldn't eat, and then almost an intermediate?
Yeah, nutrition's a tough deal for me, and a lot of the things is tough because I got a full-time job that I do, right? And then I got a family, and I'm trying to do this full-time. So it's just literally a triangle of where am I going to go today, crazy things. And if I can get with someone like yourself that obviously knows what I'm doing and where it's nutrition wise, whether it's having meat, obviously trying to not get in that position of oh man, I'm busy all the time, let me eat bad food. I mean that's another huge thing that I get into sometimes where I'm in those traveling all the time on the road,
long
doing
stretches without eating. And that's a form of intermediate fasting that Justin's describing, and I get a lot of questions on that. And to me, intermediate fasting, there's a lot of pros. Again, a lot of pros, a lot of cons. Each individual is different. It depends on the person. The intermediate fasting thing is it's good as a quick kind of style of eating. So what it is you go 14 to 16 hours without eating. This is just one form of intermediate fasting. This is the one that some of my clients ask me. They're going to do it either way, so I apply this to them. And so there's an 8-hour window where you can get your calories in. If you're someone who needs to eat and be full and needs that sensation of feeling full, this might be a good diet for you. It's a good quick fix type style of diet. Quick fixes are not what I promote. Lifestyle is what I promote, obviously. But if you're going to, take a long stretch, there are some benefits to it. Some of them being an improvement in immune system they found. But from a long-term standpoint, I think that it's best to eat meals in a kind of spread out more type fashion, but not too long of a fashion. So every 2 to 5 hours would be good for someone. That's generally what I promote. Or just spreading out meals just a little bit more. Maybe not 14 to 16 hours. But we definitely need to eat less for sure. We need less portion size. Is intermediate fasting the option? Maybe not. But it's definitely something you could try. And it's not something I promote, but I have tried it. I did get results with it. But again, I think it's just like a short-term thing. Dude, so from the environments, the circumstances, the experiences that you had, dude, what's your message for people? What are you telling people?
Justin
Rinas.
It's I actually you look on my back of my shirt. You can see it right there.
Stag Stalker.
And what does it say right there?
I will.
That's right. So I actually had my girl and I were sitting on the couch and we were talking about, okay, what's gonna be like my deal? And my thing is obviously by myself. I do a lot of things on the road. Anywhere I go, it's usually by myself. So I wanted stag being solo kind of deal. You know, going to party stag. And then all of a sudden I said, all right, well, I want something that if someone looks at my stuff, I want them to be like knowing what I do. And I will. And if you can think it, if you can do whatever, you're going to do it. And that was my will part. Yeah. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I'm going to do it. I will do it. And, you know, this stuff that I'm doing either in the outdoor industry or filming or, you know, going in a grizzly hunt, you know, what I do is probably one of the hardest things out there. There's not too many. There's two guys that do it better than me that I look up to. And I look at that and I go, all right, well, I can be better than them. And I'm really going hard every day, like we say, going for broke. I don't get paid for this stuff.
There's no doubt in your mind.
And there's no doubt. Like, I believe, like, the belief in myself.
Right.
It's insane. Like,
what you tell yourself matters.
Yeah,
what you think matters.
Every day. And my girl a lot of times goes, you know, I don't know why you do this. Why do you do this? And then like every day I'm like, no, I can do this. And you know, without going crazy, swearing and stuff like that. There's a lot of times I look in my car, like, perfect example. I went to Iowa, 17-hour drive straight to get to where I'm going. -15 I sat for 9 hours. -15. Buck showed up and took the shot, and literally I'm like thinking to myself the whole time, I'm like, all right, what am I doing? And then I'm telling myself, I can do it. I can. Right. And then once you tell yourself that, and then you start believing it, and once you believe it, then you go
some
crazy.
Powerful stuff.
Because then it's like nothing can stop you.
Some powerful stuff, Justin Rinas.
Let's get it done.
I can. I will. I love it.
Thanks, bro.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this, man. I had a great time. Where can we find your stuff real quick?
So a lot of the stuff right now is on Facebook. I got a website, comingstagstalker.com.
Okay.
It's going to be the episodes going up for turkey season. Huge year, Africa, Idaho. Some big stuff going on maybe. So you never know where I'm going to be filming. So
follow them.
Let's go. Get it.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a lot. We're definitely
if they got any questions, man.
Yeah, definitely write them on the comment section.
Yep.
We'll answer all your stuff, and Justin will definitely be coming back. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Have a good night. Dude, that was great. Thank you.